At this point, I've spent 3,000 days in this Minecraft survival world and almost 2 years of playing, and I don't plan on stopping now. But here's a little taste of what my Minecraft kingdom is looking like so far. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, I am here with my good friend Aiden.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm the background tech guy, you know?
So to get us started, this is Spawn. This is what I've been working on in the past few episodes, and where we start out is this tent, and if we take a look inside here, there's a lot to explore, and this isn't even the only area that I've built.
This place is huge, and you can't even see the rest of the world from this map, right?
Aiden doesn't even know how correct that statement is, so we better get exploring. Anyway, Spawn over here, I do have a lot of big plans for this place. There's going to be a giant market, just haven't really gotten to it yet. One of the big things that I wanted to do with Spawn here that's very important is the view you get of the old castle, the old Ventian castle that's been overgrown and ruined up here.
You get the sense of time and like of history in place.
Either way, we've got this giant arena over here, and I really love how this thing came out. To this day, I get people asking for the tutorial.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Now, the next thing is actually, like I said, the most recent addition to Spawn Town here.
What's the idea behind these buildings? What's the history here?
So pretty much the point is that Spawn Town is going to be a little bit more modern and a little bit larger than the actual town in the Valley of Ventia.
That's the old town in the Ventia Valley.
Yeah, exactly. They have like houses where individual people or families live, whereas these buildings would house more like, it would be more like apartment buildings, you know, in the medieval sense. There's a lot to be done here. Like, obviously I want to build this big port over here. I think my favorite part of this place is just this building overlooking the lake.
I mean, the fun part with Ventia is that it's so huge that the potential never ends.
Now, okay, what we're about to do is probably my favorite view in the entire world. So basically, as you round this corner, you get this beautiful view of these giant fields, and you also just see the entire castle up on the hill. I don't know, man. I just love this view right here. It's probably the best thing in the entire world.
I can hear the Lord of the Ring chimes in the background.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely got that epic vibe that I wanted to go for. I think the windmill does a lot for this section too. It's really awesome.
Ask the editor to add some background Lord of the Rings music.
Oh yeah, epic music right here. So if we just continue on walking here, like I said, I really wanted this section to have this giant mountain so that you can't see the actual valley from Spawn, so that there's more to explore.
Yeah, it's like it's a piece of candy around every corner.
Right, you don't want to give everything away. You don't want to eat the entire bag at once.
So what we have here is, I'm assuming, the debris from the old fort has started to fall down.
Right, exactly. So as you can see up here, like the entire castle is starting to fall apart, and all these parts have fallen down, and I felt it would be a bit more realistic if you could actually see the parts that have fallen down. Like, they're still there and they're being overgrown with all this vegetation. One thing I really love doing is my bush arches, okay? Like, you're gonna see these all over the place.
I can almost smell the roses.
Now, the first place we can go visit is one of my favorite locations, which is something you're gonna hear a lot, and that's going to be the milling village. It has a very cohesive style.
Yeah, I really like the entire part of it. It's like you say, cohesive, but also I feel like it's got a lot of creativity in it. I don't think I've seen anything quite like it, and also I quite find it impressive that this was one of the most earliest builds that you did, and it still just holds the test of time, you know?
Right, yeah, that is actually a big reason why I wanted to show this first. I believe that this windmill is episode 2. Episode 3, we get the stables over here, which is where I keep all my horsies, all my good boys. I do think one of my favorite features in the entire world are all these patches of vegetation. So all the farming that they would be doing, which obviously people would be doing in real life as well. Yeah, there's also a little rabbit farm over here. These guys really love congregating inside this little house. I think they can't see the trapdoors actually, and they're just trying to...
Kind of looks like they're doing something non-YouTube friendly here.
Right, yeah. We've got the farm down here with the giant fields, which was one of my favorite episodes to record because it's just so fun to make your world beautiful with all this color. I think adds to your world. If you have a Minecraft world without colorful fields, what are you doing? And one thing before we move on to the Great Valley, I do want to show off this entire custom lake that I built on the other side. So this is the side of the mountain that's not finished so far. If you come over here, you'll see that there's a huge section of the mountain behind the castle that's just about to be built, which gives you a sense of how I actually build these things. You can even see my shulker boxes of materials over here. However, one thing I do have over here is one of my proudest nature builds, which is this section with the waterfalls that I think looks absolutely beautiful. beautiful. I do think it's awesome. Like when you get all the water in frame and you have it flowing down into the ocean, it's going to be even better as soon as the rest of the mountain is built and we have even more waterfalls coming down. But I really love this section and I can't wait to add more vegetation to it. And if we move on over here, it's actually perfect that we're so high up because we can get a great view of, once again, one of my favorite builds, the monastery up on the other side of the valley. So we get a little bit of a preview over here. And if we continue to just walk down here, I absolutely love this view. Like this, to me, like the exact vibe I wanted when I built Ventia.
It's really nice. And all the chimneys just filling the air with smoke and just the rooftop sticking up. It's really nice.
I very much love like all the texturing I've done to the mountain over there, and I really look forward to doing more of that. It's just such a huge amount of work, but it's got to be done.
Yeah, and like it needs to be said that we're running around in creative now, but this world is block for block in survival.
Coming up on a year and a half, almost 2 years that I've been building this world, which is crazy to say because it felt like yesterday I started. What we should do is we should fly on over here.
Some people get dogs for Corona, you build an entire kingdom. It's just
yeah, exactly. This is pretty much my COVID dog, yeah. So walking in over here, this would be, if you're coming from spawn, this would be how you enter Ventia, into this very green section. I love playing with sightlines. So anytime I do anything, I really want to make sure that you don't block out something really cool that you can see, like the monastery from this perspective. If we come over here too, we can see something that I hid in here, which is this overgrown house that's just, you know, nobody's living here. It's all boarded up and it's in the woods. And most of these houses actually have interiors. I don't know how many of them we're actually going to be able to explore. This one actually has a way to get down underneath the mountain where I have a lot of my farms, so it's what I've been using to get down there. Now, if we walk in here, this I would say is like the main town of Ventia. We got a whole bunch of buildings, and if we just walk into the town, we get squares like this, where we got a bunch of shops, we got a florist, we've got a cafe over here, we've got a bakery, we've got a little lemonade stand over here where I need to move a villager.
You can almost feel the heat and the warmth of the city, even though it's a Minecraft and you don't actually have the city noises and everything. You can see it.
Yeah.
If you'd had villagers, it would just be constant villager noises.
Oh yeah, my plan is to just have tons of villagers later on. Yeah, no, it was so much fun to work on this because this used to be a vineyard, right? There used to be this giant space. And I'll show the aerial clip from above right now and we can even take a look. All of this space where all these buildings are used to be just a giant vineyard. And I might be able to include a clip of that as well if I find it. Right. Yeah, and I don't think I've shown the entire town here from the top.
Like if you're really interested, you could always just watch the older videos, of course.
Of course, yeah, you can just, you know, just watch the entire Let's Play. You know, not a huge commitment at all, but yeah, it would help me out. There are still a few more houses on this side of the mountain that I need to build. Like everything isn't done. There's going to be a village going up here. There's just a lot more to be built. It's so work in progress even still, which is crazy.
I think we maybe should have a look at the white church you have on the cliffs here.
I do have this church over here, and I wanted to challenge myself and build something that is completely diagonal. Absolutely insane to try and put together, but I think it turned out very, very well. I love this building. And if we go inside, as Aiden has already done, we can see that it's dressed for like it's dressed up for a wedding. I don't know why I decided to do that. I just thought it was amazing.
Hello, Antlerboy. We're standing here in the wedding aisle.
And if we go around the corner from the church, you can see that, like, I have a lot of mountain to build. There is so much behind here that needs to be done that it's crazy. And you can also see where I got all my materials, like all my digging. And I've been doing a lot of digging, okay? You can't even see the bottom of this thing.
I would love to do the math on just how many blocks of stone this is.
So if we walk down here, this is actually one of the first squares that I built. Even in, I believe, episode 3, it starts out with me building this tree. Yeah, so these houses are very early. I think this house right here is the first house in all of Ventia. And this was one of the bigger early houses that I built, which I think is the priest's residence. Yeah, we also have a great view of the castle here. Like, I just really love the view from right here. Now, if we continue on down here, we make our way to the port. And before we get to the port, we can get a view into my Nether portal forest. I didn't just want a random portal. I definitely just wanted something that was a little bit more embedded into the wall here and that has a bit of context, you know, just not a random portal somewhere. And I felt like a magic magical forest was the way to go. So we'll go down there as soon as we get down into the port, but these buildings right here are from very, very early on. Now, if we go downstairs here, we actually have to go downstairs to get to the market. But what I was trying to do is try to create that, like, the slanted boxes with all the stuff. And I really love these market stalls. I do want to move some villagers over here. I think we should check out this Nether portal forest because this is where I started my very first video ever. Hey there! And even this place has come a long way since then. We've built way more of the trees up top, and with the new spore blossoms, this place just gets so much more magical with all these particles floating down. Like, it just adds to the atmosphere so much.
But I remember when you first started this world, this wasn't the Nether portal. It was actually going to be like the entrance to the world, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I still kind of agree that that's what it is, okay? Yeah, once you enter, just like that, this is the first thing you see, which I just think is amazing. But moving on to the port, we've got the lighthouse over here, which was an early build, I think episode 6 or 7, where we of course have the custom paintings that Ladimirian or Gustav has made. They're so amazing. Like, look at these things. Basically, we got a little painter over here painting the lighthouse. You will have to download the custom texture pack to be able to see this, but I really love these paintings. Over here, we do have some villagers in the market stalls, and I do think it adds a bit of atmosphere. So I did kind of a major revamp of this place pretty recently on stream, added a few of these little dock houses, which I think are awesome. But overall, I really love the docks. This is the first boat I ever built in Minecraft, which I think turned out pretty okay.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe a bigger one in the future, huh?
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a huge boat really soon, which is awesome. It's one of the next episodes I have in mind, just building a giant ship out in the ocean. So over here, we also have basically the way to transport materials up. I wanted to go with this elaborate crane system, but I just think it was a little bit too steampunk for what I ended up going with for Ventia. So we do have this one crane, which I couldn't get rid of. It was there very early on, and I think it looks pretty awesome. Yeah, and one of my favorite build, definitely my favorite build in the dock area is this tavern and inn. I really love this building and how this terrace bar ended up.
Kind of went for something new here with the nether roof and also the quite strange but beautiful slanted roof.
It's very fantasy, the roof, yeah, and I could just imagine myself sitting here, you know, getting something to eat, looking out at the amazing view. So personally, I would argue that my favorite neighborhood in all of Ventia is this one right up here. What I really love about this area is just, well, for one, how colorful it is, but just the close quarters. Basically everywhere in Ventia, the houses are really close together, and it's just got that neighborly vibe, you know what I mean?
This is kind of the posh area, isn't it?
Yeah, it's sort of the posher area. The idea was kind of like the higher up you live, the posher it is. It's also got this nice little greenhouse, which I think is very cute.
This is so cute, honestly.
Yeah, over here we also just get a great view of the monastery up there that we're going to be checking out soon. We've also got these houses over here, which is the beekeeper. I'm also not opposed to just building something for the sake of it being pretty. A lot of people really want it to have a function too, but I'll build something just for the sake of it being pretty. Speaking of, one of the first things I wanted to build in Minecraft was a giant castle up on a huge custom mountain. Now, I know we can find mountains that are more similar to these up in 1.18, but I've custom built this mountain, and it's pretty large.
It's huge. And I mean, when you started this, was it 1.15?
Could have been when 1.15 came out, the day 1.15 came out. But this castle up here, fully decorated, and the first castle I ever built in Minecraft, which is kind of crazy, but it's very homey. It's very me, I feel. Like, it's exactly the type of build I wanted in Ventia, and it's so elaborate. I have an entire video showing off this castle in detail with all of the interiors and everything, and you can, of course, explore it for yourself, so we're just very quickly gonna go through here. But I think some of my favorite things in this castle is I wasn't afraid to create, like, messes like this, and just kind of make it very lived in.
It's very nice. It's very high fantasy, this castle. It's got very, like, cheery and a bright sense to it.
I love that you just have a fantastic view from up here. And even if you look in this direction, we can't quite see it yet, but we can start to see the road that leads over to the next area. But before we head on over there, I think we should take a look at the other side. But first, take a good look at this view from the bridge. Like, this is Ventia in essence. Like, I keep being impressed by the thing I've built myself, which almost like feels wrong, but it's been such a long time that it's just like crazy to look back at all this. Around episode 20, I believe, I wanted to build something diagonal, really challenged myself, and I felt like the thing to do, since I already had a castle on the mountain, I decided a monastery was the thing to do. And so I went very, very Mediterranean, Italian inspired. And so one of the things I really wanted was this walkway right here, where you just get one of the best views in the entire, like just the entire area.
These are some spoiled monks, I'll tell you that.
The entire other side over there is pretty much finished, unlike this side of the mountain. So this view right here is pretty crazy.
All of Ventia in one image. You just have the spawn and the backside of the farms hidden.
So this place still needs an interior episode, but we're definitely going to get to that at some point. Like, I'm going to get to everything. If it takes me my whole life, Ventia is going to be, it's going to be perfect. So coming over here, I did build this lake up here, but the plan here has actually always been to make even larger mountains going up, to have as a backdrop.
You want to make more mountains.
I'm going to make more mountains, so just to kind of finish these off and build stuff on the backside. I just love the idea of having more projects, you know what I mean? Just the idea that, like, I have more that I yet need to figure out. This is the main area in Ventia. What do you think, dude?
It's fantastic. I mean, I almost want to put down a bench here and just sit in the sun, sip a cola, and just take it in.
So yeah, guys, like I said, if you want to see this area for yourself, definitely check it out. But we're going to be moving on to the next area. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the internet, Ventia is, of course, my pride and joy, and I'd say the valley is probably the most impressive and huge thing I've built, but moving on in this direction, this is probably my proudest build in this entire game, the castle, and we're going to be getting over there on horseback because it's actually kind of a far trip. Now, the plan here is to actually just create buildings and inns and things to see along the way, all the way over to this town over here. Basically, I had this idea that I wanted to build a village with every villager profession from scratch and a house for each villager, and then end off the village with a giant castle. And so that's exactly what I did, and we're going to be coming up on it here. It's very much in a coherent style. The first area we're going to reach is not the first area that I built, but it is the quarry for the stonemason. Pretty much a very fantasy take on a stone quarry, but we got this little quarry where stone is being dug out, and what I think is a pretty awesome little house. Now, what I will say about these houses, every single house for the villager professions, I tried to style off the original villager houses, which is why this is built with white terracotta. Now, if we move on in over to the village, we're going to take a way better look at this castle pretty soon, but my idea was this entire area is surrounded by desert. So what I wanted to do is build an oasis in the middle of the desert and have the entire village surrounding it. So the first house I built over here was the farmer's house, and that's when I had the idea that, you know what, big fields look really good in this game, so I'm gonna surround this entire area in giant fields. And if I give you guys an aerial view before we take a closer look, we've got a lot of huge fields surrounding this place, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I really love that. It's like you say, it's an oasis, but not only that, it's all of the fields really gives the sense of actual life here in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, it's I think it's absolutely amazing. And every single house in this area is completely interior decorated, including the castle. But I started building every single profession, and you can take a look for yourself. There's even like a hidden sewer system where the Nether portal is hidden. Yeah, so we got a Nether portal. We actually even have a guest over here, and this sewer system leads all the way down to under the church. It's very elaborate. So the first major area here is, of course, the oasis. We've got every single house. I left some space here so that you can see the fields and the epic view of the castle. Once again, one of the most amazing sightlines in my entire world, I would say. You even actually get a little bit of a gap to be able to see the church over there. So the next area over here is the docks, where we've got two houses. We got the cartographer and the fisherman, which are two of my favorite houses in the area. And we, of course, have the little sailboat with the little fisherman villager guy. Now, what I will say about the cartographer's house over here is that I do have a map of the area that I think we should check out. So I'm not even sure if the map is entirely updated, but yeah, look at this area with all the fields. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. We've got one more thing that we can see from over here, which is the library. So passing through the animal pastures over here, we've got the great big library. And I love this place. I want to create something with a giant dome up top so we get some natural sunlight in. And this place is just one of my favorite builds. Yeah, it's got a crazy interior. I wanted like an upstairs section as well. So if we just walk up here, we've got this giant chandelier that gets, I mean, it looks crazy with shaders. We just got some sections where you can read books and get a nice view of the entire village. Yeah, man, I really love this place. I think it's an awesome interior interior. I didn't have too much space to work with, but it's definitely one of the ones that I'm more proud of. But finally, the thing we've all been waiting to see is the Grand Castle. This thing took me a very, very long time to make, and if you want to see how I made it, there's an entire video on it. My last video is decorating the entire interior of this thing, and it was a blast to create. Like, I can't believe I made this thing, and I honestly feel like I could top this thing. I want to build yet another castle.
Is it gonna be bigger or better though? That's the question.
I think both. I think both bigger and better. And going around here, like, we're gonna see Ventia start popping in the background, but we've got the church over here, which is just, you know, I really love this build. It's way more traditionally church-like than the church back in the valley, but it's very nice. Got an interior as well.
I think the amount of detail and the small size is very nice. Usually when people make massive churches in Minecraft, my problem is often that they're like ridiculously big.
So when I sent you this castle the first time, when I was working on this, I was working hard last summer.
I couldn't believe my eyes, honestly. I was actually insane. I was wondering how you were feeling. I was like, this guy's got I hope he's eating food or drinking water and stuff.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of building, man, and it's been crazy. But this place, it's just so amazing that when you build something in Minecraft, you can just walk around there whenever you want and just keep those great memories. And I've got this fantastic world that I'm so proud of, and I'm so happy that I've built all this, and I'm so excited to see where it goes. It's just one of those things that it's the gift that keeps on giving, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think it's just really nice that you also have this YouTube channel and audience to actually show your stuff to. I mean, that's the beautiful part. Is that
it's amazing.
You can show your stuff to the world, and it's not just hidden in a basement.
Right, exactly. No, it's not just hidden on my hard drive, right?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this world just almost deserves an RPG server for it.
This is just so precious to me, this entire project, and I'm so excited to keep going with it. Like, I've dedicated so much of my life to doing this during, like, when the world was changing with lockdowns and things happening, and it's changed my life a lot. It's why I started doing YouTube. It just, it means the world to me. Ventia, like, and this area in and of itself, like this entire section, probably about 50% done, what I've showed you so far.
It's crazy that you still think this is 50%. I mean, I think most people would think this is 200%.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's just still so much to do, and I still have a vision of what I want to create. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the humble world of Ventia so far. And if you want to explore it in more detail for yourself, make sure to check out the download in the description down below. And if you'd also like to see how this world progresses in the future, subscribe.